the number 1 overall pick in 2024, the odds are already up. Caleb Williams is sitting at minus 550. That makes sense because he is going to be the number 1 overall pick so long as he doesn't get hurt. But Kelley, from a betting standpoint, I'm not going to allow anybody to lay 550 for over a year.
Nope.
At a position that we have seen guys get hurt. It's unfortunate. We wish nothing but the best for Caleb Williams. But you are not going to lay 550, have that money sit for over a year, only to have it get sucked away and them steal your money because in the third game of the year, he ended up getting hurt or whatever it might be. So do not do that. If you are going to make any sort of bet this time of year, it needs to be a long shot bet of anyone that might be able to rocket up the board. Please listen to me through this. Even Drake May at 6-1
I don't think
isn't worth betting right now. If anything, it's going to be the same by the time college football rolls around or whatever. So you don't want to make that either. So I do think that there are two out there that are at least somewhat interesting to me. Quin Ewers and Michael Penix are two different quarterbacks that are projected in all of these way too early mock drafts to go in the first round next year. Now, we know that doesn't mean they're going to go. Every mock draft had Will Levis going in the first round as well, and he did not go in the first round this past year. But Quin Ewers was as highly pedigreed a player as you were possibly going to get. I mean, we were talking like can't miss prospect stuff being thrown around with him. We were saying, as highly marked as Andrew Luck, all these different things. Well, it didn't necessarily pan out last year, but there were moments, there were flashes, and he plays the position that allows someone to kind of go from a middling, lower first half grade or even a second round grade all the way to a number 1 overall pick. We've seen it multiple times throughout the course of the NFL draft in recent memory. This is not just even a long time ago. Baker Mayfield came out of nowhere to go number 1 overall. The draft grade entering the 2019 season on Joe Burrow was mid-second round, and Burrow rocketed all the way up to number 1 overall. So Ewers at 50-1, Penix at 50-1. These are two, they're not going to get questioned about their size. They're not, none of these things that we were nitpicking these other quarterbacks about. They're all going to be the prototypical dudes. Now, whether they outplay Caleb Williams or Drake May, that's not what we're doing here. This is a numbers play. It's a numbers grab. This is not a talent evaluation, Kelley. Again, we have to keep beating the drum on this. Hey, when we make these bets, these draft bets, it's not about talent evaluation. It's about the number that you get attached in the likelihood of that maybe coming to fruition. And if you have a 50-1 ticket on Ewers, if you have a 50-1 ticket on Penix, and they play their way at least into the discussion, that's all we need. We just need them to play their way into the discussion. Like we had with these long shot tickets on Levis and Richardson and all these, it made it to where it was impossible not to win, not to make money on the number 1 overall pick. So if this 50-1 that you have on Penix or this 50-1 you have on Ewers ends up becoming a 5, 6, 7, 8-1 or whatever, then you have that in your pocket, and it's going to be, then you can come in and bet Caleb Williams, and you're going to make money off the number 1 pick no matter what. And if some tragedy happens and something happens to Williams, now your 50-1 becomes even more live and is super, super live as far as the number 1 overall pick as well. So just something to throw out there and continue to beat the drum that this is not a talent evaluation. We know Caleb Williams is the best quarterback. We know that he's the most likely number 1 overall pick. But sometimes you make bets based off the number attached to the player, and that's what it would be on a Ewers or Penix bet.
I think you just hit everything. Hit the nail right on the head on everything here. But I mean, especially you can't lay this kind of number this far out. You're talking a year away. You have an entire season to play. I mean, just regardless of injuries, right? You will likely see a better number than this throughout the course of the season as we go on throughout the college football season. I mean, Drake May, I absolutely would say the same thing about 6-1 on him. You're that convinced right now that he could be the first overall pick? I think you need to wait on him. There's a good chance you're going to get a better number than that. You said it great. You got to look further down the board. I think there are some options that you could look at. While you were just talking, I had to do the whole, I feel like this is part of the process now of the whole check how old every one of these quarterbacks are because nobody's drafting a 26-year-old quarterback. The only one to be careful with there is Bo Nix, who will be 25 by the time he gets drafted next year. I know he's going to be up there on some people's list.
He's going back for his 9th year of college football.
Yeah, with like 8 different schools. I don't even really know. But yeah, I think Will Levis, that was a bet that we both made last summer, and I will never forget you being like, hey, Will Levis, 40-1. And I'm like, cool, what team does he play for? Okay, great, let me add him to the account right now. Look, was that
and he played his way into the conversation.
Yes, he did.
That's all we needed.
It's a bet, Matt, that we didn't we didn't hit, but it allows you to make money off of when you're able to basically get, like I think you'd ended up doing the same thing, but I had plus money tickets on Stroud, Young, and Will Levis. It was impossible for me to really lose money on that first pick as long as Anthony Richardson didn't go there. So even though it's a bet that you're like, dude, he went in the second round, it still allows you when you're crafting all your draft bets to make sure you kind of lock in a profit. And those are the types of things making those kind of bets allow you to do, but you got to look further down the board. Have to.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.